This is page 41 of your math journal. Okay, and this one we're going to give a title of dividing fractions. Now this is a little bit different than what we did before. We were dividing by fractions. Now we are dividing fractions, and we're going to be making models of these. So now our fractions are going to be our dividends. Okay, dividing fractions. So the first one we're going to do is 6/7 divided into groups of 3/7. Okay, so go ahead and draw a whole unit. Let's just make rectangles this time. And first of all, in order to have 6/7, I need to have my whole unit split into 7 pieces. So we're going to split this into 7 equal pieces. Try and make them as equal as you can. So there I have 7 pieces, but my original divisor, I only have 6 of those. So I'm going to shade 6 of these in. So I have 6 of 7 pieces make up the whole unit. Now I want to divide this into groups of 3/7. So I'm going to count 3 of these 7s and I'm going to make a group. So there's one group. And there's another group. I was able to make 2 complete groups out of this. So this has an answer of 2 whole groups. I have no extra pieces. I made 2 complete groups. Okay, next one, skip a line. Next one I want you to do is 3/4 divided by 1/4. So let's go ahead and draw another rectangle for our whole unit here. Let's divide it up into 4ths. Now of this, I only want 3/4. So I'm going to color 3 of those pieces. Alright, I have 3/4, and in each group I want to divide them into groups of 1/4. So there's a group of 1/4. Here's another group of 1/4. And here's another group of 1/4. So if I take 3/4 and I split it into groups of 1/4, I end up with 3 complete groups. Okay, skip another line. This time let's do 5/6 divided by 1/2. Okay, let's go ahead and draw a rectangle for a whole unit. And I need to split it up into 6 so I can color 5 of them. Okay, now this one's going to be just a little bit trickier to think about. If I have 5/6 and I want to split it into groups of 1/2, half of one of these units, if it's already split into 6 pieces, half is the same as 3/6. So I'm going to split this. Here is half of the whole unit. There's one group. And then here, I have 2 pieces, and it takes 3 to make the whole group. So here I actually end up with 1 whole group and 2 of 3 pieces to make the whole group. Now realize this is not to make a whole unit. I wanted groups of half. 2 of these pieces are left over, and it takes 3 of those pieces to make the group size that I needed. So I have 1 whole group and 2/3 of a group. Okay, these don't always turn out to be whole numbers. Okay, let's try one more. Let's skip 2 lines here just so we have a little more space. So the next one I want to do is 4/5, and I want to divide that by 2. So I want 2 whole groups. So I want to split 4/5 into 2 groups. So let's draw our whole unit again, a rectangle. We need 4/5, so I need to split it into 5 pieces and then color 4 of those. Okay, 4/5, and I'm dividing it into 2 groups. So here, I'm not counting off 2, I'm counting off to 2 equal groups. So if I have 4 of them and I'm splitting them into 2 equal groups, that would leave me 2 pieces for this group and 2 pieces for this group. Now this one's just a little bit different. I want 2 groups. Now my question here is, what is in each group? I have 2/5 in each group. I have 2 pieces, and it takes 5 to make that whole unit. So here I decided to split it into 2 groups. This is different than up here. This one told me the size groups I wanted. This one tells me how many groups I want. So here I had to make 2 equal groups. Up here I needed my groups to each include 3/7. So here is how many groups, and this is the size of my group. Here this was the size of my group, and this told me how many groups. Okay, let's go ahead and skip a line, and we're going to be doing a little bit different. We're going to be working with mixed numbers now instead. So if I have 2.5, and I'm going to be dividing that into 5 equal groups, because that's a whole number. That's 5 equal groups that I want. So let's go ahead and draw 5, or not 5 equal groups. Let's draw our dividend, 2.5. So right over here, I'm going to draw 1, 2. That would be 2 whole units, but I need 2.5, so I need to draw another whole unit, and I'm only going to color half of it. So 2.5, so if I color 2 whole units, and half of another, there's my 2.5, but I need to split it into 5 equal groups. Well, this is where 2.5, the way it is written, it's important for me to know that I have 2 whole units and a half unit. But this would be where having a mixed or an improper fraction will actually be more useful to me. So are you okay if I turn this 2.5, 2 times 2 would be 4, plus 1 would be 5. If I just rewrite this as 5 halves. So 5 halves divided into 5 groups. This is going to be a little easier for me to work with. Now in my picture, I have 2.5. To show 5 halves, I'm just going to split these so they're in halves. Now, looking at what I have, I can split this into 5 equal groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal groups. What's in each group? 1/2. Okay, let's try another one similar to that. Okay, I want you to skip a line, and we're going to do 1 3/4. And we're going to divide that into groups of 1/2. Okay, once again, we want to draw 1 3/4. Let's draw what we're splitting up, our dividend. So 1 whole rectangle. And then in order to do 3/4, I'm going to need to draw another whole rectangle. But I'm going to split that into 4 pieces. So I need 1 3/4, so I'm going to shade this one. Here's my 1 whole unit. And then 3 of these 4 pieces. Okay, once again, this isn't very useful to me. I'm going to have to split it up into groups of 1/2. So I'm going to take and turn this into an improper fraction. So you know where I'm getting 7/4 from. 1 3/4 is the same as 7/4. Now I'm going to make my picture look like that. Okay, there's my whole unit just split into 4 pieces. Now I want this into groups of 1/2. Well, 1/2 is the same as 2/4. So I'm going to take and group this into groups of 1/2 or 2/4. That would be 1/2 of a whole unit. There would be 1/2 of a whole unit. Here's another 1/2. But then I have another piece. So I have 3 complete units, 3 complete groups of 1/2, but then I have 1 remaining piece. And how many of those pieces does it take to make a whole unit? It takes 2. So I have 3 and 1/2. You can see that here. 3 complete groups of 1/2 and 1/2 of a 1/2. So my answer is 3 1/2. Okay, that's all we need to do for modeling today. Go ahead and make sure that is in your neatest handwriting.